Okay, think about this for a second. The sheer amount of stuff one person can create today, music, art, videos, games, it's just everywhere online.
It really is staggering.
Yeah.
The digital age lets a single person build this huge, sprawling, creative world. It's unlike anything before.
Exactly. And that's why today we're doing a deep dive into the work of Noble Victor Royce Ducat L., who goes by, well, a whole collection of names, right? Rapblaze, Trapblaze.
Blaxel 6 Entertainment, Black Lotus Records Robotics, Keys, and Breeze Music.
And even an older one, DBOY. Quite a list.
Yeah, and our main source here is their press kit. It gives us a really interesting window into all these different creative and business things they're doing.
Like a backstage pass, you said earlier?
Kind of, yeah, into a very active mind.
So our mission basically is to unpack all this. We're
Yeah.
using the press kit to figure out what's at the core, how do all these names and projects connect, what are the main themes driving it all?
Makes sense.
Okay, so let's start with maybe the most obvious thing.
Mhm.
All those names.
Right. What's interesting isn't just that there are several, but they seem quite specific. Rapblaze, Trapblaze, clearly music-related, different styles maybe.
Yeah.
Then Black Cell 6 Entertainment sounds broader, maybe for games or other media.
Seems like it. And Black Lotus Records Robotics. That pairing is intriguing. Music and tech.
It suggests that, yeah. And Keys and Breeze Music. They actually describe that one as a mix of human creativity and AI.
We'll definitely come back to that. And we should mention the older name, too, DBOY.
From Black Lotus Records and D Productions, yeah.
It hints at maybe an evolution, like a journey.
It doesn't feel random, does it?
No, not at all. It seems like each name has a purpose, maybe organizing different creative outputs. Or is it all linked?
That's the big question, I think.
Okay.
And the press kit does give us some pointers towards a kind of unifying vision, especially when you look at how they describe their identity.
Right. That description, Aboriginal Indigenous nationality. It's quite specific.
And they list their heritage. More Krishna, more Salagi, Cherokee, and Anawaya, plus an association with the more Circle 7 temple.
Yeah, that feels really central, a key piece of the puzzle. How does that identity shape the work, do you think?
Well, it seems foundational. The press kit ties it together by mentioning that proceeds are meant to support honorable Aboriginal Indigenous people and contribute to the betterment of humanity.
Okay, so there's an ethical or cultural mission stated there.
Exactly. It suggests that this core identity isn't just background. It's potentially woven into everything they do, all the different projects.
So how does that translate into the actual work? Let's start with the music. The press kit mentions an independent process and specifically calls out an Ensoniq SQ2 keyboard.
Yeah, that's interesting. The SQ2, that's a digital synth workstation from the late 80s, early 90s. It has a particular sound, so highlighting it suggests maybe a deliberate choice, a specific sonic flavor they like.
Or maybe just what they started with.
Could be, but then you contrast that with the Rapblaze Keys and Breeze name.
The one they describe as human creativity fused with AI innovation.
Right. So potentially vintage hardware meets cutting-edge AI. That's a really interesting combination. What would that even sound like?
And the sheer amount of music is, wow.
Yeah, the 500-plus hours music album by Keys and Breeze,
Plus over 100 tracks on SoundCloud alone.
covering trap, R&B, rock. It's a huge output.
What does that volume tell you? Just constant creativity.
It suggests a serious drive, definitely. Constant flow of ideas and a willingness to explore different genres.
They even give a specific example. Rapblaze Intro 1, F minor, 120 BPM.
Which is, a small detail, but it gives a concrete reference point. F minor often has that sort of dramatic or melancholic feel. 120 BPM is pretty standard dance pop tempo.
Okay, so beyond the music itself, the digital presence is just as massive.
Oh, yeah. The list of platforms is extensive.
Instagram, SoundCloud, that huge YouTube library, Anchor.fm for podcasts.
TikTok, Tumblr, Pinterest, Facebook, Threads, X, Twitter, Twitch.
It's like they're everywhere.
It's a very comprehensive footprint. Each platform probably serves a slightly different function, right? TikTok for short videos. Anchor for longer audio.
Tumblr and Pinterest, maybe more for visuals. The press kit mentions Black Cell 6 ENT on Tumblr for visuals, robotics, game development, experimental art.
And Rapblaze eZine on Pinterest for music archives and artwork.
So it's not just random posting. It seems like a strategy.
It does. It suggests they're using these different platforms to reach different people or show different sides of their work. It's not just dabbling. It's a sustained effort.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit to the tech side. robotics and game development.
Right. Black Lotus Robotics. That name itself is interesting.
Because of the connections the press kit mentions. The anime, Blade Runner, Black Lotus.
And that separate UEFI boot kit called Black Lotus, and even a Czech card game called Robotic CS by a company called Black Lotus.
Yeah, it shows how the same name can pop up in totally unrelated areas. Need to be specific.
Exactly. The press kit clarifies their Black Lotus. Robotics is about, well, robotics.
And Black Cell 6 Entertainment seems to be the game development arm.
Right. Developing the Black Cell 6 FFPs game using the Sauerbraten engine.
Sauerbraten. That's an open source engine, isn't it?
Yeah, known for being quite moddable.
Yeah.
Using that engine might suggest an interest in that open source community or just the flexibility it offers.
And the game's full title. It's quite a mouthful and very specific.
It is. Black Cell 6 World of the Illuminati. From the perception of a rapper turned Christian Illuminati, chosen one of rap.
Wow, okay. That definitely signals a very particular theme and perspective.
It really does. It suggests a narrative-driven experience, maybe reflecting a personal viewpoint or journey, like an artistic statement within a game.
And the press kit mentions virtual weaponry under Black Cell 6 too, so
Right.
definitely focused on that FPS genre.
Seemed like it.
Now let's loop back to that core identity again. The lawful expression rooted in their Moor, Krishna, Moor, Salagi, Cherokee, and Anawaya heritage. This keeps coming up.
Yeah, it seems to be a really important thread.
How does it show up in the projects?
Well, the press kit mentions lawful media and tribunal sound projects.
Linked to the Moor Circle 7 temple in Black Cell 6.
Right. And also Aboriginal and Indigenous ritual content, including visuals and fire ceremonies.
So it's not just a background thing.
Yeah.
It's actively integrated into the media they create.
It seems that way. Like using media for cultural expression, maybe even preservation, you could say.
Then there's the Zak Illuminati symbolism, another layer.
Yeah, suggesting a specific symbolic language they're employing in their art and messages.
And we also see second-order cybernetics and robotics content mentioned for YouTube and SoundCloud. What exactly is second-order cybernetics?
Okay, so basically, first-order cybernetics looks at systems from the outside, objectively. Second-order cybernetics includes the observer in the system. It asks how our own perspectives and biases shape how we understand and interact with systems, like technology.
Ah, okay. So applying that here might mean they're exploring not just what tech does, but how we perceive it, how it shapes us. A more self-aware look at technology.
That's a good way to put it, a self-reflexive approach.
Interesting. Okay, so wrapping up the different entities. We have Black Cell 6 Entertainment, Black Lotus Records, Robotics, the Game Division, Traplays Illuminati Music, Keys and Breeze Music Group.
Each seems carved out for a specific purpose: music, games, tech.
And the press kit notes the Day Train, single copyright under Black Lotus Records, but also mentions research suggesting links to other groups with similar names.
Which just highlights how tricky digital branding can be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Names overlap, connections get confusing.
Yeah. It really emphasizes that you need to look at the actual work each entity is doing, not just the name itself.
Absolutely.
So taking that step back, looking at the whole picture from the press kit, the main thing that strikes you is just the sheer scope and how it all seems connected.
Definitely. The breadth is impressive, but it doesn't feel scattered. It feels like an ecosystem. Music, art, tech, culture.
Yeah.
All stemming from this core identity and vision we talked about.
A unique blend, really.
Yeah, a synthesis of heritage, art, and technology. And honestly, each part we touched on, the music, the art, the robotics, the game, you could probably do a whole separate deep dive on any one of them.
For sure. There's a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of brings us to a final thought for you, the listener. When you see this kind of fusion, identity, art, technology all woven together by one person, what does that tell us about how creativity is changing in the digital age?
Yeah. And what does it say about the power of an individual's vision to build something so complex and far-reaching online?
Good questions to ponder. We definitely encourage you to check out the different channels mentioned in the press kit if you're curious.
There's a huge amount of material out there to explore for yourself.
See what connections you make.